You are Locked On Nuggets POSTCAST, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
That is how you respond, ladies and gentlemen, as the Denver Nuggets on the second night of a back-to-back take down the top-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder in dominant fashion. Your final score here this evening, 140-127. I'm your host, Aniello Piro. This is your Locked On Nuggets postcast right here on your Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. Really appreciate y'all rocking with me here on the evening, this Monday night, as the Denver Nuggets get a much-needed bounce-back victory over the Oklahoma City Thunder. And guys, tonight's episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. And man, that's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. And obviously, yesterday's show was a bit sour, a bit frustrating, just considering how Denver, was in that game. But was unable to get the job done, was unable to keep their foot on the gas, and frankly was just unable to slow down the Oklahoma City Thunder. But, I ended the show yesterday talking about how this was a revenge spot for Denver. And I was very, very curious to see how Denver would respond in this game, it's not just any back-to-back, right? And we know that Denver is exceptional on the second night of a back-to-back this season. I believe they only have 2 losses with over 10 wins on the second night of a back-to-back. It might only be 1 loss as well. I believe it's 2, though, off the top of my head. And, but this isn't just any other back-to-back. This is the Oklahoma City Thunder, the high-octane Oklahoma City Thunder, a team that has been a thorn in the Nuggets side. And Denver, most importantly, in a big-picture perspective, there's a couple of thoughts and takeaways here. They split the season series 2-2. And Denver has not been great against upper echelon teams in the NBA this season. But it was a bit of an interesting schedule with the Nuggets and the Thunder this year. They played 2 games very early on. The first game was opening night between the Nuggets and the Thunder. And then they played, I want to say, just a couple of weeks, maybe shortly thereafter. And then here you are now at the beginning, middle of March with 2 games as you really go into the lion's den of your portion of your schedule here. And really, just a gut check type of game, in my opinion, for the Denver Nuggets. And I was very curious to see how they would respond. And, there's some issues, so many open 3-point shots for Oklahoma City. Lou Dort absolutely crushed them tonight. But Denver did a good job of limiting SGA and limiting Jalen Williams tonight. And ultimately, Chet Holmgren didn't have a great game. Like, that was the type of response that you needed to see from this Denver Nuggets team if you want to have the optimistic point of view that this team can run the table and go out there and really contend for an NBA championship. Because Oklahoma City, to their credit, has been the best team in the NBA this season. They are absolutely electric. They're young. They're hungry. They've got so much energy. And they took it to the Nuggets yesterday. But Denver, without Aaron Gordon once again, found a way to put up 140 points on an Oklahoma City Thunder team that is stout defensively and hands them only their 5th home loss of the season. Denver now 42-23 on the year. Oklahoma City falls to 53-12 on the season. And frankly, what did Denver lack yesterday, right? 3 things that kind of come to mind for me for what Denver lacked yesterday that they made up for today. Jamal Murray had an explosive game offensively, 30-plus points. Nikola Jokic, despite falling on his elbow yesterday, looked a little, I don't know if rusty is the right word, but just looked a little off yesterday offensively. He had a great game tonight, 30-plus points. But most importantly, in my opinion, because you expect Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray to bounce back. They've done it before. We've seen this story time and time again. You expect that. But where the difference for the Denver Nuggets in this game today, I'll tell you right now.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
The bench unit, in my opinion, was the turning point this afternoon, or rather this evening, for the Denver Nuggets. They got some great contributions off of the bench from 2 guys in particular. They ran an ultra-short 8-man rotation here once again. Peyton Watson, great game tonight. And Jalen Pickett, getting extra run, getting extra minutes, getting extra leash from head coach Michael Malone due to the injury of Julian Strawther. Both of these guys made the most of their opportunities in the game tonight. Let's start with Peyton Watson. I believe he only played 7 minutes last night and was frankly abysmal. I mean, Malone even hinted at it after the game that, it was a tough game for Peyton yesterday. He got the defensive player of the game badge or chain today after the game as well. And, Malone, not everyone likes him. I'm a Malone guy myself. He talks about how, there's two options you could go if you're Peyton Watson after a game like yesterday. You can sit there and sulk and complain, or you can pick yourself up by the bootstraps and do something about it. And Peyton Watson took the latter. He pulled himself up by his bootstraps tonight in those 24 minutes and was fabulous on both ends of the floor. And we know that Peyton Watson has been a bit hit or miss offensively throughout his NBA career. But tonight, when the Nuggets needed it, not in a garbage game against the Wizards or the, insert not so good team here, against the best team in the Western Conference, what did Peyton Watson do offensively? He sat in that corner and waited for his number to be called. And he knocked down all 4 3-point shot attempts that he took tonight. 4 for 4 was Peyton Watson from beyond the arc here. It was 6 of 7 from the field, 16 points, +7 in the box, plus minus, a couple of nasty blocks, added a rebound in the mix there as well. So a salute to Peyton Watson for wiping the slate clean after yesterday's rough outing in his limited playing time and, essentially tripling up on his playing time here tonight and putting forth maybe his best game of the season. At least it kind of comes to mind because it's fresh in my head right now after this 140-127 victory for the Denver Nuggets. But Denver does not win this game without Peyton Watson tonight, folks. I mean, those 3-point shots were absolutely critical. And the bench unit as a whole, Jokic, unlike yesterday, Jokic, if you remember yesterday, Jokic ended up actually playing at the start of the fourth quarter. That is typically at the end of the third, where head coach Michael Malone likes to take Jokic out and give him, rest till about the 7-ish minute mark, somewhere around there of the fourth quarter to bring him back in. So Malone reverts back to his old ways, puts Jokic on the bench to start the fourth quarter, and relies on the bench unit to hold the water, for lack of a better phrase. And Peyton Watson, along with Jalen Pickett, who we'll talk about here in just a moment, did just that along with the rest of the players. So kudos to Peyton Watson. Great game for him, an essential game for him in order for Denver to get this victory. Now on to Jalen Pickett, man. As I mentioned, I think Jalen Pickett in the limited playing time that he's had this season has been impressive. I lean towards Jalen Pickett over Julian Strawther right now. I understand that Strawther has maybe a little bit more upside, a little bit more athleticism, a little bit more size in general. But, they talk about it time and time again on the Nuggets broadcast. This is a guy who played, 4 or 5 years at Penn State at the college basketball level, which is just unheard of for a guy to play that long and then try to transition to the NBA and have any sort of success, right? It's a one and done game in college, maybe sometimes 2 and done, whatever it might be. But Jalen Pickett, so cool, calm, and collected. And what he lacks in size, he makes up with IQ, knows how to make the right play. Excellent at running the point tonight. He played 18 minutes in this one tonight, 8 points for Jalen Pickett, but 2 of 3 from 3. So when his number was called to knock down the 3-point shot, Jalen Pickett did a superb job at that, a superb job. So again, we'll talk about Jokic, we'll talk about Murray, we'll talk about MPJ, we'll talk about Russ. Nice little ovation for him there back in Oklahoma City where we spent all those seasons, an MVP for the Thunder. Man, is that like almost 10 years ago? I want to say that was this 2015-16 NBA season, if memory serves me correctly, which is crazy to think about in and of itself. But again, I just think you come to expect Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray to bounce back after an off night by their standards. The difference in the game tonight was that bench unit, was Jalen Pickett, was Peyton Watson. So kudos to them. Absolute kudos to them. Got a comment here from my guy, Fernando. What's going on, my man? Hope you're doing well. Pickett stepped up today, actually made a difference 100%, man. They do not win that game without the contributions from Pickett and Watson. So absolutely love to see it. But let me hit my first break, guys. When we come back, we'll continue along with the conversation. The Denver Nuggets tonight victorious on the second night of a back-to-back, taking down the Oklahoma City Thunder. Your final score, 140-127. We'll hit a break. We'll come back, do just that, talking a little Jokic Murray two-man game right here on your Locked On Nuggets postcast. All right, you guys, real quick, let me tell you about our friends over at DoorDash. NBA fans, get ready. They swoosh, you save. Thanks to Dash Pass, every time a player drops 50 or more points in a game, you score huge deals the next day. It's simple. When any player scores 50 or more in a game during the 24-25 NBA regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off of an order, up to $10 off the next day from noon to midnight. Here are a few ways that you can take advantage of this deal. After an epic 50-point performance, celebrate by ordering wings, pizza, or burgers from your favorite spot, all delivered straight to your door. Whether you're staying up late watching highlights or just need a midnight snack, use Dash Pass to grab something delicious while saving big. Plus, are you planning to catch the next game? Order your go-to snacks and meals at a discount and get ready for more high-scoring action. Sign up for Dash Pass and be ready to save. When any player scores 50 or more in a game, Dash Pass members get 50% off and order the next day, up to $10 off. Just use promo code NBA50, that's NBA50, from noon to midnight after a 50-point game on eligible orders at participating merchants. Must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms they do apply. Visit DoorDash to learn more. And let me also tell you real quick about our friends over at FanDuel. I had a nice little parlay tonight on FanDuel, and March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So if you bet the Nuggets tonight, you get $200 in bonus bets. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. Couple of different ways that I like to use FanDuel is picking my favorites. I've got my eye on a few underdogs this year, and FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. Shout out to St. John's. You can also stay in the action with tournament games happening almost every day. There's something exciting to bet on all the time. The FanDuel app is simple to use, and when I win, I get paid instantly, no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Okay, welcome on back into your Locked On Nuggets postcast. I am your host, Aniello Piro. You guys can follow me on social media at Media by AP. If you're watching on YouTube, appreciate y'all. As always, do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. That way you guys never, ever miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast right here on your Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. All right, let's get into our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
You could really go two ways here. You could go Jamal or you can go Nikola Jokic. I'm actually going to go Jamal Murray tonight, though, because Jokic, what do they call it? A Belgrade double, I think is what what Chris Marlowe called it, because he didn't have a soundboard double because he finished 2 assists shy of a triple-double. But Jokic tonight finishes with 35 points, 16 rebounds, 8 assists. We'll talk about him in more in just a moment here. But I'm going to go with Jamal Murray as my player of the game tonight because I think he set the tone for them early and often in this game. You saw him hunting his shot, playing with confidence that maybe we saw he lacked a little bit yesterday. And Jamal finishes with 34 points here this evening, looking like the Jamal Murray that we've all come to know and love. 34 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 3 of 7 from 3, 11 of 22 from the field. That is what I'm talking about from Jamal Murray. What a game tonight from the Blue Arrow. And, the reason I go with Jamal over Joker is, like I just mentioned, like you just kind of expect greatness from Nikola Jokic, right? But again, I talked about Peyton Watson. I talked about Jalen Pickett. Great effort from those guys tonight. If they played that way and Jamal didn't play the way he did tonight, they probably lose the game, straight up. And when Jamal is playing with that confidence, with that two-man game with Jokic and, just getting his shot, whether it's the three-point shot, in and around the elbow, absorbing contact. I mean, the Nuggets go from a pretty good team to a championship contending team. And I'm not trying to get too far ahead of myself here. There's plenty of tough games left on the schedule. Denver is neck and neck right now with the Los Angeles Lakers for the 2 seed in the Western Conference. So we have to see how the rest of this season plays out. But in a game that, look, if Denver loses this game, I'm not going to say it was a gotta-have-it game, but it was a gotta-have-it game in the sense of belief, in the sense of we can do this, right? And just the overall energy and effort that goes into trying to contend and win an NBA championship, something that Denver has done, obviously. But, I've had questions. I know the fans have had questions, media members. I'm sure the players and coaches have questioned, is this team good enough to win an NBA Finals? I think, obviously, that answer still remains to be seen. Like, there's plenty of basketball left to be played. Could you imagine an OKC Denver Western Conference final? Because if Denver gets the 2 seed, that's the only way it's going to happen, assuming that nothing collapses with Oklahoma City. But this is a game that goes a long way in building the belief and the confidence of this group moving forward, because now you can sit back and look. I know they've had bad games this year against the Knicks and the Cavs. The Wolves got them early as well. I mean, there's been some ugly moments. Lakers beat them last time out. There's been some tough games for the Denver Nuggets this season against playoff caliber teams. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But when you can go into the Lions Den on the second night of the back-to-back, after the team chewed you up and spit you out last night in the Oklahoma City Thunder, and you go out there and hang 140 on them, and you clamp down on SGA relative to expectation. Williams, what do you have, 12 points tonight, I think I said. I mean, Chet Holmgren, 8 points tonight for Chet. I mean, you got to feel good about that. You got to feel good about that. I mean, Lou Dort did his absolute best to try to kill the Denver Nuggets here this afternoon or this evening, 8 of 14 from three-point land. And I was grabbing my hair out in the middle of the first half and the third quarter as well. How many wide open corner threes is Denver going to allow? Oh my gosh, it was like death by corner three. Lou Dort was just a walking bucket today from beyond the arc. So it's and even the rebounding was a bit of an issue. But again, I look to that, end of the third quarter. Denver went on an 8-0 run there. Feed that into the non-Jokic minutes to start the fourth quarter. And Denver does what you expect them to do, which is rally around Nikola Jokic, rally around Jamal Murray, and go out there and get the job done. And really, about midway through the fourth quarter, like nothing's set in stone, but midway through the fourth quarter, I'm sitting back, I'm watching the game, and I'm saying, you know what, they got this one tonight. And you see them really blow the game open there late. I mean, Denver outscores Oklahoma City by 11 points in the fourth quarter. Just a fabulous second half offensively for Denver. They traded buckets in the first quarter, 34-32. Oklahoma City really punched back in the second quarter, hung 41 on Denver. But, they scored 33 in their own right to the Nuggets. So they were able to, keep it manageable. And then they respond coming out of half with a brilliant third quarter, 34-26. And they put the kids to bed with a 39-28 outscoring of the Thunder there in the fourth quarter. And that's how you get to your 140-127 final score. So, Denver did what they needed to do. They needed to prove to themselves that they can hang with the best of the best. And look, Oklahoma City, rightful favorite to win the NBA Finals, rightful favorite to come out of the Western Conference. They haven't done it, though. Oklahoma City was a darn good basketball team last year. Not as good last year as they are this year. But, it's hard to get over that hump. I mean, that was the thing with the Nuggets for so long before they won the championship a couple of years ago. Losing to Portland, Suns in 4, right? Like you think back to this really fun, energetic Nuggets team that had an MVP at the time in Nikola Jokic, but just unable to get over the hump in the playoffs. And so again, I'm not trying to get too far ahead of myself here, but like let's just pump the brakes a little bit on Oklahoma City as an automatic bid to win the NBA Finals, because that's how Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins were talking, at least to come out of the Western Conference. And I tweeted it out at Media by AP. That's so Nuggets to lose yesterday. Because you know what? Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins are not even going to talk about this game. Let's be honest with ourselves. They don't even know this game was going on. Because Stephen A. and Kendrick and the four-letter network and every big talking head in the NBA media got their fill yesterday. They got their legitimacy yesterday by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder going out there and stomping Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets on national TV. Let's see if they remember that it was the first game of a back-to-back. Because now, again, 2-2 on the season series. SGA's had his moments. Jokic's had his moments. Obviously, you know that I'm a Jokic guy. I think he should win MVP because Oklahoma City is a great team without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Obviously, they're better with him. But you take Nikola Jokic off the Denver Nuggets, they're not making the playoffs, folks. I mean, maybe a fringe play-in team. Fringe at that. So, not to go off on a tangent on that, but it is just funny because this game deserves to be talked about in the same way that yesterday's game was talked about in favor of the Thunder and in favor of SGA. Because Jokic went out there tonight and did what he does with 35 points, 18 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal, a block. 15 of 20 from the field. 1 of 2 from 3. Love it. Michael Porter Jr. had himself a good game as well. Made 3 3-point shots. He had 17 points tonight, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Christian Brown started out slow, but hit a couple of big 3-point shots there late in the game in the second half as well. He finishes with 14. Russell Westbrook was 16. And all in all, that is a good victory when it's all said and done for the Denver Nuggets. So things you want to see them improve on. They've got to figure out how to guard the 3-point line against Oklahoma City. Like I said, it was death by corner 3 today. The offensive rebounding was also a bit of an issue. But I liked what Denver was able to do, get out, run, prevent Oklahoma City from selling into that vicious half-court defense that they love to play. And at the end of the day, it was a gutsy, gritty, much-needed victory for the Denver Nuggets, 140-127. Let's take a look here at their upcoming schedule before we get out of here, folks. If you got any other thoughts, comments, questions, whatever it might be, go ahead and drop those now. Let's also look at these 4 games this year. So, yeah, Denver got absolutely waxed on opening night. They lost to the Thunder 102-87 in that game. And then, yeah, they played them. Opening night was on October 24th. They played the Thunder on November the 6th. And then Denver bounced back there with a 2-point victory, 124-122, both of those games at home. And then you fast forward to now the ending portion of the schedule almost. Lose last night, 127-103. Win tonight, 140-127. But the next 2 games are going to be interesting, folks. Wednesday night, off tomorrow when they come back home to Denver, but you got the Minnesota Timberwolves, the team that knocked Denver out of the playoffs last year. 8 p.m. tip-off on ESPN, so another nationally televised game here for the Nuggets. Should be a good matchup. And then Friday, no LeBron, maybe no Luka, but the Los Angeles Lakers are coming to town here. So interesting couple of games coming up here for Denver against Minnesota and Los Angeles. Then they get a little bit of a break against Washington, and they got back-to-back games against the Warriors and the Lakers here once again. So it is going to be interesting, to say the least. But for tonight, it's a good win. It's a good outcome, much needed for the Denver Nuggets. But all right, folks, that is going to do it for me on tonight's Locked On Nuggets postcast. As always, appreciate y'all tapping in. Do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button on your way out the door. Really, really helps me out. And that way you never miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. But a nice bounce back victory for Denver. Enjoy your Monday night. We'll do it again on Wednesday as the Denver Nuggets now prepare to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Have a good one, folks.